going to try and keep this under 5 minutes. So today we're having a grammar lesson and we're looking at semicolons. Now that might give you a little bit of insight into the journal prompt here. So what is this symbol called? Wink, wink. How do you use this symbol? If you don't know, that's okay. Give it your best guess. And do you use this symbol often in your writing? Why or why not? So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to look at this, and then afterwards I'm going to pull us in for a little bit of discussion. All right. So, does anyone know what the symbol is called? Yes, it's called a semicolon. Good. All right. Now, do any of you use this symbol writing in your often? Why? Why not? All right. So maybe you guys only use it in specific situations, or maybe you guys don't have the best understanding. That's okay. You should be able to use them a lot more in your writing after today. All right. So, do any of you know how to use them? All right. Maybe here and there, some of you do, some of you don't. All right. That was a good discussion. All right. So semicolons can be tricky. A lot of people seem to think that they can only be used in certain kinds of writing. That's not true. They can be used everywhere. We're going to look at some examples and we're going to see how we can use them. Semicolons are important because it's good to vary up your sentence structures when you're writing. It can be more interesting, hold people's attention better. And in turn, if you are a better writer, that makes you a better reader. If you know how to use them, you can write and read with them. And although you might not use semicolons while texting your friends, they can make professional documents more impressive or even make creative writing a lot more interesting. So here's an example of a sentence with a semicolon. I enjoyed the movie, the sequel was better. So use a semicolon to connect two or more independent clauses or simple sentences. So I enjoyed the movie, that's a sentence. The sequel was better, that's a sentence. All right. The independent clauses do need to relate to each other in some way. So it can't just be I enjoyed the movie, I slept well. Those things aren't connected unless there is some context that makes them go together, such as you slept during the movie and that's why you enjoyed it. Maybe a little bit of sarcasm. That would work. But as it stands, that sentence without context does not work. And then you might think this sentence sounds a little awkward when said out loud. I enjoyed the movie. The sequel is better. That is because we can use these things called transitional phrases after semicolons to make the sentence sound better. So here we added however. I enjoyed the movie. However, the sequel is better. So we could also use but, although, in the end, or many others instead of however. And be careful because there is usually a comma after the transitional phrase. Not always, but most of the time, putting a comma there is a good idea. It makes it flow better. All right, so here's another way we can use semicolons is they're almost like a super comma. So they're like breaks in between long sentences. So it's similar to how a comma is used in a sentence to kind of split ideas a little bit. Here it goes in between sentences to split up the ideas of sentences. So it's like a super comma. So if you try reading this without the semicolons, it's very difficult. I like going to the movies because I get to spend time with friends and family. The snacks at the movies are tasty, unique, and fun, and I enjoy keeping up with pop culture, as opposed to I like going to the movies because I get to spend time with friends and family. The snacks at the movies are tasty, unique, and fun, and I enjoy keeping up with pop culture, as you can see. All right, so here I'm going to show you guys kind of how to go through a sentence, and then afterwards you guys are going to do it, and then we're going to repeat that one more time. So John wanted to play basketball, but Ramona was hoping to stay inside to read. So what is one independent clause? John wanted to play basketball. That is a sentence. What is another? Ramona was hoping to stay inside to read. That is another sentence. Transitional phrase would be but. So right in the middle of those two, there's a but. Where does the semicolon go? It would go right before the transitional phrase, but, so right here. All right, so now I'm going to have you guys help me. So I really wanted to go out to eat tonight, even though my mom was making spaghetti for dinner. What is one independent clause? Good. I really wanted to go out to eat tonight. What is another one? Good. My mom was making spaghetti for dinner. Are there transitional phrases? Good. Even though. Where does the semicolon go? After tonight, right before even though. Yes, right before the transitional phrase. All right, now I'm going to do one. All right, Stefan was hoping to be able to travel to Germany, France, and Britain this summer. All right, you guys can read the rest of that. All right, so what is one independent clause? We've got the first sentence there. What is another independent clause? We got the second sentence there. And then the third. Are there any transitional phrases? Yes, there are two on the other hand, and unfortunately, where does the semicolons go? Right before both of the transitional phrases. All right, now you guys are going to do it. Here's a new sentence. You guys can read it. One independent clause. Yes, good. What is another independent clause? Yes, good. All right, and another. Yes, Any transitional phrases? Yes, however, and meanwhile. And where does the semicolon go? Yes, right before the transitional phrases. Good. All right, so now you guys are going to do group practice. So on Canvas is a Google link titled, a Google Doc link titled Recognizing Semicolon Placement. I want you guys to create a copy of it, and then you and your partner are going to go through and identify the end-of-end clauses, any transitional phrases, and insert semicolons where they're needed. There are more explicit instructions on the page. If any of you guys have any questions, please ask. I will be going around and trying to help and talk to as many of you as I can. Now, after this, you guys are going to be doing independent practice, and this will be graded. So once you've finished, you are going to begin to think of your own example sentences that require semicolons in them. I want you to write at least 4. Try and vary them up a little bit. Sorry. On one side, it's going to be the sentences without semicolons, and then on the back, or on a second paper, I want you to write an answer key where the semicolons are in the sentences. If you don't finish during class, this will be homework, and then tomorrow you will be giving your sheet to your partner, and they will be giving it to you, and you will be trying to add the semicolons to their sentences. All right, and then class would go by, it would be the end of class, and then I would flip over to the reflection. So I want you guys all to return to your journal from the start of class and reread your original entry and answer this. Do you feel more comfortable using semicolons in your writing now? Why or why not? Once you guys are done with this, please upload your journal to Canvas, either as a photo or a PDF, or you can hand it in me on paper. Do this by the end of class, please. All right, and then that would be the end of the period.